Dito lang kami.
Mga photo bomber.
Okay. Second row. Mag-duty tapos kita papasok yung mga kuwan.
Sir Momo. Isama mo ito, ha?
Kami tayo ng gwapong lalaki. Galing ba? Okay.
Okay. Sama. Pagka,
Thank you.
The session is called to order. Please stand for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupit, di ka masisilil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagpinignig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walamit pagsika, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya dapat may mga ating at mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for the invocation to be led by 3rd District Bataan Representative Maria Angela Garcia.
God Almighty, we come before you as one body as we gather this afternoon for today's session. We humbly seek for your guidance and wisdom as we deliberate on the bills for consideration. Enlighten our minds and empower us with your grace so that we may only do what is good and that which is for your greater glory. May you continue to use us and our work in helping make our country a better place for our fellow Filipinos, where they can live dignified lives through the laws that we are able to pass. All these we pray in the name of our God of many names. Amen.
Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move for a 1-minute suspension.
session suspended.
Wala na.
Tabakan na to, bay. Para sa building nila. Ito ako. Guwapo. Three years, 4 years to over. Kaya nila wala. Pero ang last nila ng building. Kung sa may buhok na to. Lagi siya ito, 1,000 square meters, 1,000. Ang napong kuha ni ko, kay makadi daw sa akong si Mayor sa Uban.
Lo, alindugan, no?
Yan, kasi kaya gado. Yan, may babaan dito. Pag nagbaba ako, AX dito.
Ano yun ang mga hagad nila? Kaya lang, nakalungkot. DPW, gusto ko sabihin, DSWD mo.
Pero sa pundo ko.
Kaya nga, pero ang disbursement sa dito, bakit kasi na, may second distribution naman ako, kay Rudy.
Masay pa ka. Ay, hindi siya. Ay, mag-abot dito. Pero pagka di mag-agad, kasulsugon, masukin na lang yung mga tao. Eh, po, niyan, ito ka kay Pasay mag-turistis.
Ang chismis.
Ano? Mag-turistis naman. Ang awa lang ito, nanbase si, kay Sigan Hagad man sa ako ni Asno. So, kay ko pa man akong ayos, man ang kataga, education na ako. So, kung mapa-allocate ang po,
Ay, boss. Ang ganda yun, nag-uusap pa kayo doon sa beach na yun.
oo.
tinawag ko na ang mga informal settler. Nagre-report na nga ako at paano ko na? Basta testigo ko to eh.
Dapat may parks na ito.
Wala.
May hearing, may hearing.
Testigo.
Pare, abogado, paano mo yun?
Hanggang inuman ka lang doon. Bisita ka lang doon.
Ano, may rider? May hearing fee.
Remember, the lawyer is an heir.
Saan? To everyone? To everyone's property?
The lawyer is an heir. Ha? TAIC, educational assistant.
Dahil ako nagbababa talaga sa susunod dahil mga iwas-iwas sa mga chismis-chismis. Kaya lang ba nagagdami pagod sa akin na tayo ko ng pagpibigyan. Wala akong balak local dito eh. Di, sabi ko, kung naisip ko, kung nabutang ako dito, ano ko na lang sa iyo.
I-coordinate mo na lang sa ako.
Pareho.
Ay, sinda mo na mga ano-ano. Ano na lang kami sa pumunta.
Ikaw na lang magsabi kay Gog kung basing ba naman may
Tama.
parang wala lang.
Sabihan ko. Kaya kung maiwasan tulos ang chismis.
Iwasan lang kay Gog basing may compromiso sa iba ng party list man din. Sabi ko.
Aral. Para na.
Ano naman?
Saan una kaya? Kaya nakataya sin sariling tao. BHW. Ayan. Kung naman niya. Pero nga ito nga na yun niya.
Nabutang ako na lang dito.
Kaya makalakat ka na dito. Aktibo.
Balik. Ano ko lang, ngayon masabi na taga-susunod ako. Wala akong daraan. Samantala sa iba na lugar, grabe yung utang.
Maips mo. May maips.
Yes, sir.
Ha? Si Cobb, naghahanap ito si Maips. Ano? Ako, ang deal ko kan Cobb. Pero ang maips ko, halimbawa, tagang ko 5%. Not 10%. Palit kita. Construction material. Pakita mo. So, panghatag ko. Bahala ka sa maips ko, ikaw ang discourage. Pero tagan mo construction.
Ano na agad ko?
Pwede siya man. Okay. Sige, tagan mo siya maips, tagan ko.
Agad siya na.
Ikaw, kaya kung may deal ako sa iya, sabi ko tagan ko na ikaw.
Maip.
2 million na maips, tagan mo. 10% sana. 200,000. Construction material.
Lalo ka minsan.
Yun, siyempre, umiinom ako na ginseng. Kaya umiinom talaga. Ginseng, yung
Lagi
sachet.
na sa newspaper eh.
Wala, ano yun eh. Kumbaga for art's sake ba? Alam lang nila yung nagtatrabaho tayo dito sa Kongreso.
Kita ko pati yung video sa Hong Kong. Yung sa...
Magaling.
Ay, thank you. Pag natin yung e-voting. Ha?
Lusot yun.
O, suporta ka.
Lulusot yun.
Basta tayo. Tayo natin. Tama natin. Thank you.
2,200,000 worth cement.
Pero pwede man jetmatic. Grabe mo naghahatag-agad sa akong jetmatic.
Ako semento. Jetmatic.
Dami naghahatag.
Jetmatic.
Ito kung nagdadali ka.
Butangan mo halimbawa siya sin Jetmatic. Grabe na yun ang jetmatic.
Tama ito. Tama ikaw.
Sabay mo ako kumpira. Ha?
Naghanap siguro.
Naghanap siguro. Kay gusto niya. Ito ka. Tagal na niya.
Privilege speech ba? Every Monday.
Minsan, with leave, to go.
O Monday ba?
Pero as a rule, Monday,
Tsaka yung next week holiday.
with leave. Na-manifest lang with leave of the house.
Pwede ako mag-Tuesday. O na lang sa
Next week,
Sa aga ko pa kaya line daw pwede ko.
usually, pag dili nagpe-privilege na Monday, Tuesday talaga. Pero with leave,
Kaso kung wala niya,
igo na yan.
igwaso sa aga.
Lima niya.
Wala sa aga.
Oh, yeah.
So next
Tuesday na.
yung connection.
Meron din, sir.
Anong issue?
Reclamation. Sa officer ko.
Ama, kay may problema man nga na ako sa tirahon tan.
Ano?
Sige, igo man ako problema sa Barcelona. Sinuratan ko ng PRA. Hindi
Mga gago yan.
cease and desist lang sabi ko kay illegal na reclamation. Hindi nalilig ko sa mga mangrove.
Ano? Next week. Kahit may mga sulat sa akin mga officer, Fox Gabos.
Ma-interpolate ako.
Lain ko man pwedeng line, anuhan.
Ma-interpolate
Sabi
ako.
ako, ihatag ko sa iyo mga
Ako ma-interpolate. Ha? Yung prepared mo na interpolate. Ano madali. Ha? Okay. Next week, Martes. Ha? May Viber doon. ba sa kuya? Ipo-forward ko mo naman sa partner ko.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives Abalos, Abante, Abunda, Acharon, Asidre, Ako, Adyong, Advincula, Agaraw, Alba, Albano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Angara, Aquino, Aquino Magsaysay, Arbison, Arenas, Arrogancia, Asistio, Ataide, Omentado, Balindong, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Baskug, Bautista, Bautista Lin, Benitez, Bernos, Billones, Biron, Bolilia, Bondok, Bongalon, Bordado, Bosita, Briones, Brosas, Buhain, Bulot Begtang, Bustos, Cabredo, Cagas, Kahayon Uy, Calderon, Calixto, Campos, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castro Franz, Castro Jean, Celeste, Chan, Chato, Chua, Chungalao, Ko Angelica Natasha, Ko Elizaldi, Ko Pilar, Ko Juanco Jaime, Ko Juanco Mark, Colada, Coliantes, Corvera, Cruz Ambrosio, Cruz Ricardo, Cua, Quaresma, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Dayanghirang, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor, Del Mar, De Los Santos, Dimaporo Muhammad Khalid, Dimaporo City Amina, Dionisio, Domingo, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, D. Faustino Ino, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Ecleo, Emano, Enverga, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Udela, Fariñas, Fernandez, Ferrer Antonio, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galeyos, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Maria Angela, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Guardiola, Garin, Gasataya, Gato, Goed Christopher, Gomart, Goles, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Guico, Gintu, Gulyas, Gutierrez, Hagedorn, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera, Horibata, Javier, Ko Olga, Ko Ricardo, Ko Wilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon Daphne, Lagon Sani, Lara, Lazatin, Lee, Legarda, Libanan, Lim Kay Chong, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Makapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Magsino, Malapitan, Mangawang, Manikiz, Manuel, Marañon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miguel, Momo, Morden, Nava, Nisay, Noel, Nograles Juan Fidel Felipe, Nograles Margarita, Nolasco, Oaminal, Olaso, Olivares, Ongjuan, Ordanes, Ortega, Uano Dizon, Padiernos, Paduano, Paglas, Palma, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Peña, Pimentel, Plaza, Pleito, Primicia Sagabas, Pumaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Recto, Regencia, Remulla, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Reyes, Rilio, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Eulogio, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Sali, Salimbangon, Salo, Salvame, Santos, Saulug, Silverio, Singson Richel, Singson Ronald, Singson Mihan, Solon, Suwan, Suwansing Horacio, Suwansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Talyado, Tamayo, Tambunting, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tan Tambut, Tan Chay, Tan Watko, Tariela, Teodoro, Teves Arnolfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tieng, Tolentino, Tulfo Erwin, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tupas, Tutor, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso Tuazon, Vergara, Versosa, Villa, Villafuerte Luis Raymond, Villafuerte Miguel Luis, Villanueva, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yamsuan, Yap Christiantel, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, Yu Divina Grace, Yu Jazel Victoria, Yulo, Zamora Amparo Maria, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria, Zubiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 227 members responded to the call.
With 227 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the determinant of the approval of the journal of the previous session.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we'd like to recognize the following guests of Honorable Erwin Tulfo. First, Mrs. Cheat Aguirre, Mr. Bong Tulfo, and Ms. Maria Tulfo.
To the guests of the Honorable Representative Erwin Tulfo, Mrs. Cheat Aguirre, Mr. Bong Tulfo, and Ms. Maria Tulfo, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Next, Mr. Speaker, we'd like to recognize the guests of Honorable Cynthia Chan, Dr. Emmanuel F. Calairo, Mr. Alvin Alcid, and Architect Reynaldo Lita, all of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines.
To the guests of the Honorable Congresswoman Cindy Chan from the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Next, Mr. Speaker, we'd like to recognize a guest of Honorable Jude Asidre from Biliran Leyte, Mr. Roel G. Kabulang, a fine artist and a poet.
To the guests of the Honorable Representative Jude Asidre, welcome to the House of Representatives. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your visit. Majority Leader.
Next, Mr. Speaker, we'd like to recognize the guest also of Honorable Jude Asidre, namely Attorney Maria Ermina Villa Gallardo, the head of the National Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, and Dennis Arvin Chan, the Chief State Counsel and Undersecretary of the Department of Justice.
Again, to the guests of Representative Jude Asidre, please stand up to be recognized. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Daghang salamat. Majority Leader.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, we'd like to recognize the guests of Honorable Reynolds Michael Tan, Patrick Aguilar, and Sunshine Cadil from Calbayog City, Samar.
To the guests of the Honorable Representative Reynolds Michael Tan, welcome to the House of Representatives. Thank you for your visit. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bills and the resolution on first readings, as well as communications and committee reports.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as the communications and committee reports for referral to the appropriate committees.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill 8800, converting the municipality of Claver, Surigao del Norte, into a component city to be known as the City of Claver, by Representative Barbers.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 8801, to further develop capability and establish expeditious transformation of the Department of National Defense and its bureaus, by Representatives Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Erwin, and Yap Edvic.
To the Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill 8802, establishing the Panay TESDA Training and Assessment Center in Panay, Capiz, by Representative Gintu.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 8803, establishing a multi-species marine hatchery in Pontevedra, Capiz, by Representative Gintu.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill 8804, expanding the benefits of science and technology, scholarship grantees of agriculture, geology, and meteorology programs, by Representative Gintu.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill 8805, creating the Migrant Worker Relations Commission, by Representative Salo.
To the Committee on Government Reorganization and the Committee on Overseas Workers' Affairs.
House Bill 8806, institutionalizing the preferential treatment in the procurement of materials and supplies produced, made, and manufactured in the Philippines, by Representative Teves Arnolfo.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill 8807, mandating the formulation, financing, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of a comprehensive and multi-year Tatak Pinoy, Proudly Filipino strategy, establishing a Tatak Pinoy Council, by Representative Chan.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 8808, establishing the fiscal regime for the mining industry, by Representative Tambunting.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill 8809, strengthening and amending certain provisions of the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act of 2016, by Representative Tambunting.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8810, strengthening and amending the Government Procurement Reform Act, by Representative Tambunting.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill numbers 8811 to 8815, mandating the installation of fire hose boxes in every 150 square meters of areas within barangays Bagbag, Fairview, Greater Lagro, Novaliches proper, and San Agustin of District 5, Quezon City, by Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 8816, establishing a framework for blue economy, promoting stewardship and sustainable development of coastal and marine ecosystems and resources, by Representative Marcos.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs.
House Bill 8817, declaring September 11 of every year a special non-working holiday in Ilocos Norte in commemoration of the birth anniversary of former President Ferdinand Edralin Marcos, to be known as President Ferdinand Edralin Marcos Day, by Representatives Marcos and Ibarba.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 8818, instituting a seedling and fertilizer subsidy program to all farmers, by Representative Subiri.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8819, providing for a free financial literacy training to OFWs, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Overseas Workers' Affairs.
House Bill 8820, promoting the adequate supply of blood plasma, authorizing the collection, storage, and commercial distribution of blood plasma, by Representative Macapagal Arroyo.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8821, declaring June 19 of every year as a special non-working holiday in honor of the birth anniversary of our national hero, Dr. Jose P. Rizal, to be known as Araw ng Kapanganakan ni Dr. Jose P. Rizal, by Representatives Alvarez Jose and Macapagal Arroyo.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill 8822, granting compassionate leave of 5 days with full pay to all employees in the private and public sectors, by Representative D. Faustino.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment and the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 8823, providing for a comprehensive and responsive civil registration and vital statistics system, by Representative D. Faustino.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill 8824, mandating and requiring all power telecommunication, cable, internet, water, and storage companies in Metro Manila to conduct inspection and to rectify dangling and sagging wires and other outside plant facilities, not limited to poles and pipes encroaching the road right-of-way, by Representative Teves Arnolfo.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 8825, establishing the Northeastern Mindanao State University College of Medicine in Tandag, Surigao del Sur, by Representative Momo.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 8826, converting the Ragay Science and Math-oriented high school to a type of A Science High School categorization, by Representative Horibata.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8827, mandating the Department of Migrant Workers to provide free legal assistance to seafarers or their heirs in the pursuit and recovery of monetary claims or benefits arising from employment-related accident, illness, or death, by Representative Magsino.
To the Committee on Overseas Workers' Affairs.
House Bill 8828, declaring September 6 of every year a special non-working holiday in Magallanes, Cavite to commemorate its founding anniversary, by Representative Tolentino.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 8829, amending the Charter of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
Resolutions. House Resolution 1169, condemning the illegal acts of China in the West Philippine Sea and urging the Philippine government to assert the Philippines' rights in its exclusive economic zone in accordance with the UNCLOS and the 2016 ruling of the Permanent Court of Arbitration by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Special Committee on West Philippine Sea.
House Resolution 1170, congratulating the Pentecostal Missionary Church of Christ, Fourth Watch, on the occasion of its 50th Golden Church anniversary by Representative Go Mark.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1171, urging the Committees on National Defense and Security, Ecology, and other appropriate committees of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry regarding the status of the Manila Bay reclamation projects and its consequential effects on national security and the environment by Representatives Tulfo Erwin, Tulfo Jocelyn, and Yap Edwick.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1172, urging the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board of the DOLE to immediately issue the appropriate order to raise wages in Laguna and the rest of Calabarzon region to close the gap between the current minimum wage rate and the poverty threshold by Representative Mariana Hernandez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1173, signifying the commitment of the House to the promulgation of a just transition framework to ensure that no worker is left behind by Representative Mendoza.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Resolution 1174, honoring and commending His Excellency the Most Reverend Ruperto C. Santos, D.D., for his years of devoted and dedicated service as the 4th Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Balanga, Bataan, by Representative Nisay.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1175, directing the Committee on Justice to conduct an inquiry on the low conviction rate in illegal drug cases by Representatives Bosita and Gutierrez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1176, directing the Committees on Health, Social Services, Welfare of Children, and Local Government to urgently conduct an inquiry on the proper implementation of the Expanded Solo Parents Act by Representative Goles.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1177, urging the establishment of guidelines and regulations for the ethical and responsible use of artificial intelligence in the Philippines by Representatives Suarez and Villarasa Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1178, urging the Committees on Human Rights and the Welfare of Children to immediately conduct an investigation on the extrajudicial killing EGK of Gerard Jemboy Baldassar committed by Navotas City Police members by Representatives Brosas, Castro France, and Manuel.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1179, directing the Committee on Metro Manila Development to conduct an inquiry on the issue of obstruction caused by motorcycle riders who are seeking shelter during inclement weather and find better and compassionate approach to improve the situation of motorcycle riders by establishing shelter areas by Representatives Bosita and Gutierrez.
To the Committee on Rules.
Communications. Letter dated June 29, 2023 of the Regional Director, COA, Regional Office Number 3, furnishing the House of Representatives with copies of their management letter and financial audit reports for the year ending December 31, 2022 on certain water districts.
To the Committee on Public Accounts.
Letter dated July 11, 2023 of the OIC Audit Team Leader, SUCs and NGS standalone agencies, COA Regional Office Number 10, transmitting to the House copies of their annual audit reports for the year ending December 31, 2022 on certain state universities and college.
To the Committee on Public Accounts.
Report on fund utilization of the NEA as of June 30, 2023, attested by the Deputy Administrator, Corporate Resource and Financial Services.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Physical and financial accomplishment reports on the Regional Project Monitoring and Evaluation System as of July 2023 of Quezon Nueva Ecija, as attested by the Municipal Mayor.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Reports from San Mateo Rizal, attested by the Municipal Mayor.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
various quarterly financial and physical reports of operations on the condition of matching grant to provinces for road repair, rehabilitation, and improvement under local government support fund on certain provinces.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Various reports on fund utilization and status of program project implementation of the local government support fund submitted by certain barangays, city, and municipalities.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letters dated August 7, 2023 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies each of Republic Acts number 11956 and 11957, which lapsed into law.
To the Archives.
Committee reports. Committee Report 709, submitted by the Committees on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms and Appropriations on House Bill 3946. Committee Report numbers 710, 711, 712, and 713, submitted by the Committee on Justice on House Bill numbers 8836, 8837, 8838, and 8839 respectively. And Committee Report 714, submitted by the Committees on Economic Affairs, Trade and Industry, Ways and Means, and Appropriations on House Bill 8841.
The aforementioned committee reports are all referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, today being a Monday and pursuant to our rules, I move that we open the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Chair declares a privilege hour. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Rita Robes for her privilege speech.
The Honorable Florida Rita Robes is recognized for her privileged speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Majority Floor Leader. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. I'd like to take this opportunity in taking my privileged speech based on my personal experience in one of the biggest and luxury hospital in the Philippines. I'd like to take this as one is toward a call for a safer nurse-to-patient ratio for Filipinos. One is toward, ito ang kalagayan ng nurse-to-patient ratio. Hindi na po ito biro. With this staffing ratio, is our healthcare system still safe? Ligtas pa nga ba sa ating mga nagkakasakit at dumadayo pa ng Maynila para lang gumaling? Ito ang katanungan ng marami sa atin. I rise in a matter of privilege to bring before this august body the plight of our Filipino nurses, the need for safe and adequate staffing in our hospital, and the vital role of creating a positive practice environment for our nurses towards a quality-driven healthcare system for Filipinos. According to prevailing guidelines of the Department of Health, the ideal nurse-to-patient ratio is 1 to 12. However, a 2022 study conducted in the Philippine General Hospital revealed that the standard nurse-to-patient ratio in the general wards is 1 to 20. The researchers attributed this high volume ratio to inadequate staff and high patient workload. In some hospitals, one nurse attends to 20 to 50 patients per shift. Hindi ito dapat ipaliwanag, ipagwalang bahala dahil ayon sa datos na aking nakalap, safe nurse staffing saves lives. Bakit? For a country that prides itself as one of the world's largest producers of nurses, the Philippines is faced with the paradox of having a surplus of nurses, yet still never enough to sustain its much-needed army of nurses to man its healthcare system. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we have witnessed many hospitals in the country cut down on operations, not because of lack of facilities, but rather due to lack of healthcare workers. The problem even worsened when overseas recruitment of nurses became aggressive. May mga bansa na nag-i-sponsor sa ating mga college students to take up nursing with an offer to migrate to and work in sponsoring country. Ito ay patunay na maraming bansa ang nag-aagawan para sa mga Pinoy nurses. Filipino hospitality and working hard as a human person or as a person is very much relevant. Kung pababayaan natin itong magtuloy-tuloy, meron pa ba tayong sapat na bilang ng nurse upang pagsilbihan ang sambayanang Pilipino? Meron pa nga ba o wala na? Overseas migration was not the only factor affecting deficient supply of nurses in the Philippines. The lack of stable jobs and dismissal wages also plays a huge factor. On paper, an entry-level nurse in a public hospital is entitled to earn salary grade 15, which is roughly $33,575 or $670 per month. Pero sa realidad, they only earn as much as $22,000 per month with no benefits such as statutory, mandated hazard pay. Ito ba ang sweldo na nakakabuhay ng isang pamilya? Sa mga nurses na umiiling at naghihirap sa isang floor para mag-duty, palagay ko po ay hindi. Ayon sa 2023 datos ng Nurse Organization, where are the highest paid nurses? Nasaan sila? Sa Luxembourg, ang nurse ay sumisweldo ng $96,000 kada taon. Pag kinonvert pa to, mas malaki. Sa Denmark, $87,436. Sa Australia, $73,000. Sa Switzerland, $66,594. At sa Canada, $50,168. Ilan lamang ito sa halimbawa ng mga bansa na ang mga nurses ay matataas ang sweldo. Hindi naman po natin kayang pigilan ang mga nurses na maghahangad ng mas magandang trabaho na may mas mataas na sahod at benepisyo upang itaas ang antas ng kanilang kabuhayan. No po iyon sa pagpigil sa kagandahan ng buhay. We cannot stop them from living, but we can give enough reasons to stay. Mr. Speaker, and my esteemed colleagues in Congress, I urge this august body to look in the plight of our Filipino nurses, the unsung heroes of our healthcare system. Let us create a positive practice environment for them that would encourage them to stay in our country and use their world-class talents and skills to serve our people. Mahalaga ang salitang malasakit sa ating mga nurses na naglilingkod sa ating kapwa Pilipino na may nararamdaman ng sakit sa kanilang mga katawan. Let us stop the brain drain of quality Filipino nurses by providing them decent work and improving their pay. Ayon dito sa datos ng Nursing Administration Quarterly, increased nurses staffing in a more cost-effective tactic to improve patient care when compared to other interventions. Safe nurse staffing reduces turnover in hospitals. When ratios are blown up of proportion, there is an increase in nursing turnover and a decrease in patient satisfaction. All of this increases the cost of care. A safer nurse-patient ratio is beneficial for the health of all Filipinos because it will, number one, reduce medication errors, patient mortality, hospital readmissions, and length of stays. Number two, improves safety outcomes. Number three, enhances patient satisfaction. Number four, prevention of nurse fatigue and turnover. At number five, marami pang benepisyo sana. A healthy nation starts with a healthy people. My dear countrymen, I stand here today with the dream to make healthcare accessible and affordable to every Filipino. When safe nursing staff ratio will replace the 1:1 system, and where the best and the brightest nurses will choose to stay and love the Philippines. We realize this dream by starting first with caring for our carers. Nurses take care of us, but who will take care of them? The responsibility belongs to us. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker and Majority Floor Leader and our esteemed colleagues. Magandang buhay po.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Robes to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The privileged speech of Representative Robes is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Jude Asidre of the Tingog Party List for his privileged speech.
The Honorable Jude Asidre is recognized for his privileged speech. Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues, today I stand before you on this important occasion of the World Humanitarian Day held annually on August 19. 20 years have passed since the bombing of the UN headquarters in Iraq, which injured and killed humanitarian workers. Following this, the United Nations General Assembly designated this day as World Humanitarian Day as a fitting tribute to all humanitarian workers whose commitment, passion, resilience, and on-the-ground knowledge are highly instrumental in alleviating suffering, promoting human dignity, and fostering sustainable development. Today, as we gather to celebrate World Humanitarian Day, we are presented with an opportunity to reflect on the vital issues that shape the landscape of humanitarian work in the Philippines and around the world. This gives us the chance to delve into the challenges, achievements, and aspirations of our nation as it endeavors to provide succor to the afflicted and embrace our role as responsible global citizens. Our country has long grappled with the unforgiving forces of nature, socioeconomic disparities, and the burdens of armed conflict that repeatedly test the resilience of our communities. Our people have faced the wrath of typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and more time and again. Each catastrophe serves as a grim reminder of the necessity for a well-coordinated, timely, and effective humanitarian response, reminding us that humanitarian work is not merely an option, but an imperative. It is during such time of adversity that our commitment to humanitarian principles is most fervently tested, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that the affected communities are supported, uplifted, and helped back on their feet. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, over the years, the Philippines has honed its ability to respond swiftly and efficiently to crises. Government agencies, non-government organizations, and volunteers have worked hand in hand to provide immediate relief, medical aid, and shelter to those affected. We have made strides in disaster preparedness, early warning systems, and evacuation procedures. Yet the challenge remains in ensuring that no one is left behind in the aftermath of these disasters, particularly those who reside in remote areas or those who belong to marginalized communities. However, our humanitarian work must not be confined within our borders. Our global village is connected by threads of our common humanity, and when one part of the tapestry suffers, the whole world feels the impact. It is heart-wrenching to witness the unending strife in places like Syria, Yemen, and countless others. Innocent lives are caught in the crossfire of conflicts fueled by political, religious, and territorial disputes. As members of the international community, we have a moral responsibility to contribute to the healing process and extend the helping hand to those who cry out for aid. Refugees and asylum seekers, driven from their countries by turmoil, look to us for refuge and hope. Stateless persons who exist on the fringes of society without the protection of any nation deserve recognition and support to belong and secure their rightful place in the world. Populations at risk of statelessness, often marginalized and vulnerable, require our attention to prevent the devastating consequences of legal invisibility. In the face of the growing threat of climate change, natural disasters of increasing intensity and occurrence, internally displaced persons are forcibly uprooted from their daily lives in search for a place to call home.
In fact, globally, forced displacement is at an all-time high. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR, 108.4 million people worldwide have fled due to persecution, conflict, violence, among others as of end of 2022. This is 19 million more compared to 2021. To better paint a picture of how high this is, my dear colleagues, this is more than the populations of the Netherlands, Ecuador, or Somalia. We have unfortunately raised a devastating record of people forced to flee around the world. The Filipino people have a history steeped in solidarity and compassion. This is observed in the 9 waves of refugees in the Philippines. Isa nga po dito ang mga European Jews who fled Nazi persecutions during World War II. Sa katunayan, meron nang isang pelikulang ginawa dito, pinamagatang Quezon's Game ni Director Matthew Rosen na tumanggap ng maraming parangal sa ibang bansa. Sa Tel Aviv, sa bansang Israel, merong isang monumento ni President Quezon na doon ipinapakita ang legacy ng Pilipinas sa pagbukas ng ating mga pinto when no one else did not. As lawmakers, our constituents have provided us with the honor and the responsibility to protect the forcibly displaced and deprived of their nationality and allow them to achieve long-term and durable solutions through legislation. By doing so, we do not only uphold our international obligations, but also strengthen our nation's value of inclusivity. Years after those 9 waves of refugees to the Philippines, we have continued to keep this legacy alive. At present, we host more than 180,000 internally displaced persons in Mindanao, around 1,600 refugees and asylum seekers, more than 125,000 stateless persons, stateless applicants, and populations at the risk of statelessness. The prevalence and recurrence of disasters and conflict demands a response of empathy and goodwill, one that is anchored on our being part of the same human family. We are, after all, human beings who deserve to live in safety and dignity. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, the Philippines has consistently demonstrated its dedication to humanitarian work and rehabilitation efforts. Government agencies, civil society organizations, and international partners such as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees have worked in tandem to provide immediate aid, medical assistance, food and shelter to those affected by disasters. We have seen communities come together, binding their wounds with compassion and care, inspired by our shared humanity. However, let us not be complacent, for there remain remote areas that deserve to receive the attention and aid they deserve. I therefore call on our esteemed colleagues to proactively support the passage of several proposed legislative measures now pending before Congress, which aim to provide comprehensive protection for refugees, asylum seekers, stateless applicants, stateless persons, and populations at risk of statelessness. We must likewise prioritize the development of infrastructure as well as the necessary human resources that facilitate swift response and ensure the equitable distribution to every corner of our archipelago. With the leadership of our House Speaker, Martin Romualdez, and with the strong commitment of Tingog Party List led by Representative Yeda Marie Romualdez, I have no doubt that together we can further strengthen the protection mechanism to ensure that no one is left behind. As elected representatives of the people, let us be reminded that we have not only the power, but the duty to champion and shape policies that prioritize the well-being and dignity of all individuals, irrespective of their circumstances. This duty also extends beyond the borders of our nation, reaching to those who are in dire need across the globe. Let us strive to create a world where the privilege of humanitarian assistance is not determined by nationality, race, or creed, but the same humanity that we all share. Our commitment to international humanitarian aid not only aligns our values, but also fosters goodwill and diplomatic ties, strengthening our position as a compassionate and responsible nation. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, one final point. Central to our humanitarian ethos is the principle of equity and inclusivity. It is essential to acknowledge the socio-economic disparities that persist within our nation and around the world. Marginalized communities, they be indigenous peoples, ethnic minorities, or poor populations, often find themselves disproportionately impacted by calamities. In an ever-evolving world, the integration of technology into humanitarian work has proven to be a game changer, redefining our ability to respond to crisis effectively. Embracing these technological advancements, such as data analytics and innovative communication tools, will undoubtedly enhance our ability to provide timely and effective disaster assessment, aid distribution, and resource allocation. By harnessing these tools, we can optimize our humanitarian response, minimize duplication of efforts, and maximize the positive impact of our intervention. As a former humanitarian worker myself, having served as a country director for an international humanitarian organization, I have seen how partnerships are the cornerstone of success. Collaboration between governments and non-government organizations, the private sector and international bodies best exemplified in the work of the UNCHR around the world is essential for achieving sustainable solutions. Now, as an elected representative of the people, I believe that it is important that we take steps to foster an enabling environment that encourages these collaborations, ensuring that resources are pooled, knowledge is shared, and strategies are harmonized for the greater good. Furthermore, our commitment to humanitarian work cannot be detached from the larger context of sustainable development. Humanitarian aid is not a standalone endeavor, but an integral part of the broader goals set forth in the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. As we strive to alleviate immediate suffering, we must also address the systemic issues that perpetuate vulnerability. Education, healthcare, gender equality, and livelihood opportunities are all critical components of our holistic approach to humanitarian work. As we extend aid to those directly affected by crisis, we must also address the systemic issues that perpetuate inequity, discrimination, and poverty. By investing in education, healthcare, and sustainable livelihoods, we can disrupt this cycle of vulnerability and empower individuals and communities to forge better futures, ensuring that no one is left behind in our pursuit of a more just and compassionate society. In celebration of the World Humanitarian Day, we have initiated a week-long photo exhibit to shed light on the impact of internal displacement, refugee protection, and addressing statelessness. I am grateful to Tingog Party List Representative Yeda Marie Romualdez, as well as the members of the Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development for supporting this initiative. I would like to invite you all to visit the South Wing Lobby to uncover the compelling narratives and experiences, as well as exploring the protection of those who have left their homes by no choice of their own. More than the hardship that they find themselves in, these people are best defined by their resilience, something that we Filipinos share with them, and their dreams and aspirations for a brighter future. Likewise, I would like to invite all of you to the Legislative Forum on the same topic that we have organized on the 17th of August, 2023 at the Legislative Executive Lounge from 9 a.m. onwards. In conclusion, esteemed colleagues, as we stand on the precipice of a more interconnected world, The urgency of humanitarian work has never been more pronounced. Our nation's commitment to compassion, empathy, and solidarity is a testament to our common humanity. Let us therefore recommit ourselves to the principles that drive us to alleviate suffering, champion justice, and build a world where every individual, regardless of circumstance, can flourish. May our efforts in the realm of humanitarian work best reflect our nation's values and aspirations. May all our actions and endeavor continue to be a source of hope, healing, and unity for all. May we all rise united above every adversity in fulfilling our shared responsibility to uplift the vulnerable, heal the wounded, and inspire a world where compassion knows no bounds. Sa muli, maraming salamat po, madamo salamat, mabuhay tayong lahat.
Daghang salamat. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Jude Asidre to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The privileged speech of the Honorable Jude Asidre is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
I move that we recognize, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable J.C. Abalos of the Four-Piece Party List for his privileged speech.
The Honorable J.C. Abalos is recognized for his privileged speech.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Sa aking mga kasamahan dito sa Kongreso, sa ating mga panauhin, at sa lahat ng mga kababayan natin, magandang hapon po. Today, I stand before this august body on a matter of personal and collective privilege, a matter that concerns one of the most important components in our nation's socio-economic structure, the workforce, specifically our future workforce, our youth, whose role in the socio-economic development of the Philippines is crucial. A matter that deeply concerns our future labor force is a law enacted in May 2021 that was intended to support, strengthen, and bolster future and incoming workers through Republic Act number 11551, an act integrating labor education in the tertiary education curriculum, or the Labor Education Act. The passage of the Labor Education Act was premised on the need to educate upcoming workers with basic knowledge about labor rights, negotiation techniques, cultivating harmonious interpersonal relationships in the workplace, and understanding the processes for addressing grievances and other work-related concerns. Layon ng batas na magbigay ng edukasyon ukol sa karapatan ng lakas paggawa para sa mga estudyante na nasa higher education institutions tulad ng kolehiyo o universidad sa pamamagitan ng pag-integrate ng labor education bilang isang elective course at, kung maaari, magsagawa ng isang labor empowerment at career guidance conference para sa mga magtatapos sa pag-aaral. Karagdagan dito, layon din ng batas na magkaroon ng labor education sa mga certificate courses sa lahat ng mga technical vocational institutions o TVIs sa ilalim ng TESDA na nag-aalok ng mga non-degree certificate at diploma courses na tumatagal mula isa hanggang 3 taon bilang isang elective course sa TVET curriculum. Napakagandang layunin, Mr. Speaker. Isang hakbang para bigyang kaalaman ang ating kabataan ukol sa kanilang karapatan at responsibilidad bilang manggagawa sa hinaharap. Ngunit, ang malaking katanungan ay, ano na ang kinahahantungan ng RA 11551 o Labor Education Act, Ginoong Speaker? Section 7 of the law states that the implementing rules and regulations or IRR should be crafted within 60 days from the law's effectivity. But it has been well beyond 2 years since its enactment in May 2021, Mr. Speaker. Sa 2 taon na nakalipas, 2 taon po, Ginoong Speaker, mula sa pagsasabatas nito ay wala pa rin nangyayari. Wala pa tayong implementing rules and regulations at curriculum. Katunayan, iisang beses, uulitin ko lamang, iisang beses sa loob ng 2 taong nagsagawa ng pagpupulong ang Technical Working Group o TWG ang nakaatas na gumawa ng IRR na pinangungunahan dapat ng CHED, TESDA at DOLE. Ang Commission on Higher Education para sa panig ng HEIs o kolehiyo at universidad at Technical Education and Skills Development Authority o TESDA para sa panig ng mga institusyong nagbibigay ng technical vocational education and training programs at ang Department of Labor and Employment bilang pangunahing ahensya na namamahala sa lakas paggawa ng bansa. Mr. Speaker, this is a law that invests in our future workforce, a workforce that holds the potential to foster a healthier and more empowered labor force. Despite its benefits, it is disheartening to witness the lack of emphasis and attention given to this crucial legislation. The importance of this legislation, particularly for our youth, cannot be overstated. With a staggering number of 1.6 million students graduating from state universities just last year, it becomes imperative to address whether our new graduates entering the workforce are adequately informed about their rights as workers. As these young individuals make the transition from education to employment, we must not overlook the value of their understanding of labor rights. Numerous studies consistently reveal that many young workers, especially recent graduates, lack awareness about labor rights and relevant employment laws. Without a comprehensive understanding of their rights, they may hesitate to assert themselves, advocate for better working conditions, or seek assistance in addressing workplace issues. This knowledge gap renders them vulnerable to exploitation, unfair practices, and even unsafe working conditions. Such a predicament perpetuates a cycle of labor exploitation, impeding their personal and professional development. Malaking tulong sana ang labor education upang malaman nila ang kanilang karapatan bilang manggagawa at lumakas ang kanilang loob at magkaroon ng tamang mekanismo upang ipaglaban ang mga ito. Another significant aspect of labor education, Mr. Speaker, is its positive impact on labor management relations. Last June, we had the invaluable chance to participate in the 111th session of the International Labor Conference held in Geneva, Switzerland. I was privileged to be a part of the delegation. This important event provided us with the opportunity of engaging with overseas Filipino workers and labor rights advocates, allowing us to have insightful dialogues and gain an understanding of their concerns. Despite the joyful and warm welcomes we received, it became evident that the situation of workers is not as promising as we hoped. Regrettably, their circumstances continue to deteriorate, posing significant challenges and highlighting the urgent need for effective interventions and policies. Also, just this July, I had the opportunity to engage in a comprehensive discussion with various labor groups and federation leaders in our country regarding the current situation of our workers. During this meeting, we delved into the pressing issues faced by the labor force and sought to gain insights in their challenges, aspirations, and appeals. Sa ating pakikipag-usap, binigyan diin nila ang halaga ng labor education. When workers are aware of their rights, they become more empowered to assert themselves and seek just treatment in the workplace. At isang patunay na alam ng mga manggagawa ang kanilang karapatan ay kung sila ay may kakayahang mag-organisa. Unions and associations as workers' organizations play a crucial role in advocating for improved remuneration and working conditions. Their membership, density, and bargaining power significantly impact the well-being of workers. Additionally, they serve as representatives for workers, providing them with a collective voice to express their concerns, needs, and demands to employers and policymakers. By fostering better communication and understanding between workers and employers, it paves the way for smoother negotiations, fewer conflicts, and more productive working relationships. This, in effect, creates a healthy working environment that is highly sought after as a workplace. According to the Economic Policy Institute, a non-profit, non-partisan organization based in Washington, D.C., Unions have consistently demonstrated a significant role in reducing employee turnover while simultaneously fostering a deeper sense of loyalty and dedication among workers towards their employer's success. As a direct result, the presence of experienced and devoted workers within the company leads to heightened productivity levels. According to ILO statistics, countries with a high percentage of union membership tend to exhibit several positive effects, including high labor force participation, improved work-life balance, higher employee satisfaction, better women's rights, and lower instances of labor violations. Moreover, this is in line with our adherence to International Labor Organization Convention number 87, which is the freedom of association and protection of the right to organize. The ILO has observed that countries with robust laws supporting freedom of association generally experience reduced labor disputes and improved social cohesion. This is also reinforced in our Constitution through Article 2, Section 18 and Article 13, Section 3, which emphasize the role of safeguarding workers' rights, promoting their welfare, and securing their entitlement to self-organization, collective bargaining, negotiations, and peaceful concerted activities, which encompass the right to strike. Article 11 of Presidential Decree 442, or the Labor Code, acknowledges labor's crucial role as a key and socio-economic force. It focuses on ensuring workers' rights and well-being while striving to foster a harmonious relationship between employers and employees, promoting cooperation and protecting workers' rights. Additionally, the state recognizes the rights of workers to self-organization, collective bargaining, security of tenure, and active participation in policy and decision-making that impacts their interests. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, union membership in the country is a mere 8.5% in 2020, one of the lowest rates globally as stated by the ILO. Let that sink in. When not even 10% of our 48.26 million strong workforce are union members is a cause of concern. While unions have proven effective in raising awareness about labor rights among workers, the limited number of existing unions in the country poses a significant challenge. As a result, the majority of our workers remain unaware of their labor rights and could be at a disadvantage when faced with workplace issues and violations. And I strongly believe that our esteemed lawmakers in the 18th Congress grasped the necessity of rectifying this condition, hence the enactment of the Labor Education Act. This law, albeit not a silver bullet to workers' problems, can aid our future workers in knowing their freedom of association and organization. As outlined in the ILO Convention, we must empower future workers to be knowledgeable, assertive, and collaborative in their pursuit of just and equitable treatment. Huwag na natin hintayin na kung kailan naranasan na ng ating mga manggagawa ang paglabag ng kanilang karapatan at hindi makatarungan na pagtrato sa trabaho, at saka lang nila malalaman ang kanilang mga karapatan. Mr. Speaker, as I wrap up this parliamentary privilege, may I just share a reflection while studying RA 11551. As mentioned earlier, the Labor Education Act covers students from higher education institutions and individuals pursuing technical and vocational courses. According to a 2020 study by the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, 20% of our senior high school graduates are entering the workforce. Perhaps it would be prudent to extend the scope of the law to encompass educating our youth in senior high school, so they may be equipped with the essential knowledge and tools of their rights, privileges, and accountability as they join the workforce. Although I was not yet a member of this House of Representatives when RA 11551 was passed in 2021, I now have a greater understanding and appreciation of the work this august chamber does. Hence, to the agencies tasked with crafting the rules and regulations required to implement the labor education law, I wish for this to serve as a call to to diligently and wholeheartedly fulfill the responsibility for the sake of Filipino students, laborers, and our country. Let us all be mindful and faithful of our sworn duties to our people. This will certainly not be able to solve all the problems and challenges that our labor sector is struggling with, but it is a good start. Muli, maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, at magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Manuel of the Kabataan Party List for his manifestation.
Honorable Manuel is recognized. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nais lamang po nating ipahayag ang ating suporta sa naging talumpati ng ating kapwa mambabatas dahil dama po natin bilang kinatawan ng kabataan yung paghihirap din ng maraming mga kapwa natin kabataan Pilipino na sa totoo lang ay maliban sa hirap na maghanap ng disente at nakabubuhay na trabaho dito sa loob ng ating bansa, kapag meron naman silang trabaho, dinedeprive din sila ng kanilang mga democratic rights bilang mga empleyado sa kanilang mga pagawaan. In fact, on the part of labor and in terms of unemployment, sa hanay ng ating mga kabataan, usually doble po ang unemployment rate kumpara sa general unemployment rate sa ating bansa. And also, meron ding tendency sa ilang mga kabataan natin na matakot o hindi na maging confident na pumasok o bumuo pa nga ng mga union sa kanilang mga pagawaan dahil na rin sa kultura na kapag merong mga empleyado halimbawa na natutunugan o nasisense na sila ay gustong bumuo ng mga union, pwede na silang sisantihin o tanggalin sa trabaho. Kaya nararapat din na ma-equip natin yung kabataan nung mga kaalaman na binanggit po ng ating kapwa mambabatas. And with that, we support his intention to really ensure that young people get quality labor education para handa sila kapag sila ay naging mga manggagawa na. Yun lamang po, and more power sa ating colleague, and that would be all, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable J.C. Abalos and along with the manifestation of the Honorable Manuel to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The privileged speech and as well as the manifestation is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Erwin T. Tulfo of the ACT CIS Party List for his privileged speech.
The Honorable Representative Erwin T. Tulfo is recognized for his privileged speech.
Speaker, Majority Leader, mga kasamahan ko sa Kongreso, maikli lamang po ang aking sasabihin, ngunit kailangan po ng pansin. Ang aking pong tatalakayin ngayong hapon ay ang batas na wala na pong kabuluhan at hindi lamang dapat ibinasura noon pa dahil sa halip na magdulot ng ginhawa sa bawat Pilipino, ito po ay nagdudulot ng abala at pasanin, lalo na po sa ating kababayang mahihirap. Ang tinutukoy ko po ay itong Republic Act 8479 o ang Downstream Oil Industry Deregulation Act of 1998 na mas kilala na Oil Deregulation Law. Nalinlang po ang taong bayan o naonse, ika nga sa kalye, sa pagpasa ng batas na ito dahil pinaniwala tayo noon na magpapababaan ng presyo ang mga kumpanya ng langis pag hindi na raw po hawak o kontrolado ng pamahalaan ang pagpepresyo sa produkto ng petrolyo. Isa po itong kahibangan dahil sa halip na magpababaan ng presyo, nag-uusap-usap po ngayon ang malalaking kumpanya ng langis kung gaano kalaki at magkano ang itataas nila linggo-linggo. Halatang-halata po, Ginoong Speaker, ang sabwatan ng mga dambuhalang kumpanya na ito dahil pag nagtaas na sila ng presyo, ay pare-pareho po ang halaga. Mantakin mo, Ginoong Speaker, 4 na piso ang pagsirit ng litro ng diesel sa isang iglap noong nakaraang linggo. Diesel po ang gamit ng halos lahat ng pampublikong sasakyan sa ating bayan. Kailan titigil ang pagtaas ng presyo ng petrolyo sa ating bayan dahil linggo-linggo na lang itong umaakyat, Ginoong Speaker? Wala na pong magawa ang pamahalaan dahil wala po sa kamay nito kung magkano at dapat na ba o hindi pa nararapat ang pagtaas ng presyo ng petrolyo sa mga istasyon ng mga gasolinahan. Bukas, Ginoong Speaker, ay tataas na naman ng higit piso ang gasolina at diesel, bagamat katataas lamang po nung isang linggo ng 4 na piso. Ginoong Speaker, wala na pong naidudulot na maganda sa naghihikaos nating bayan ang batas na ito at panahon na po na ibasura po ito. Hindi na po mapagkasya ang kita ng mga kababayan natin dahil sa pagmahal ng mga bilihin, dulot nga po ng sunod-sunod na pagtaas ng presyo ng langis sa ating bansa. Dahil po dito, Ginoong Speaker, ako po at mga kasamahan ko sa ACT-CIS Party List, kasama po ang 2 pang district representatives, ay maghahain ng isang panukalang batas para ibasura na ng tuluyan ang Oil Deregulation Law at muling ibalik sa pamahalaan ang pagkontrol sa presyo ng produkto ng petrolyo sa ating bansa. At magtatatag na lamang po ng isang pondo na maaring tawaging budget ng bayan para sa murang petrolyo na para bang subsidiya pag nagtaas ang presyo ng petrolyo para hindi na po mahirapan ang taong bayan. Sa akin naman pong mga kasamahan dito sa Kongreso, ang akin pong hiling na suportahan po natin ang agarang pagpasa ng panukalang batas na ito dahil para naman po ito sa ating lahat, mayaman man o mahirap. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Speaker, at magandang hapon po.
Salamat, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Franz Castro of ACT Teachers Party List for her manifestation.
Honorable Franz Castro is recognized. Please proceed.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker at sa ating Majority Leader. So, pinapahayag ko po yung aking pagsuporta doon sa privilege speech ng ating kasamahan mula sa ACT-CIS, Representative Erwin Tulfo. Totoo nga pong talagang hirap na ang ating mga mamamayan dito sa patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng langis. Dahil alam naman po natin ang epekto ng pagtaas ng presyo ng langis, may domino effect po ito doon sa mga presyo ng ating mga agricultural product, sa pagtransport ng ating mga agricultural products, sa mga utilities, at sa lahat po ng ng mga bagay-bagay na gumagamit po ng petrolyo o ng petroleum products. So, tama po yung binanggit, sa taon po na ito, may 11 pesos and 50 centavos na increase sa gasoline. 7 pesos and 10 centavos sa diesel, and 2 pesos and 60 centavos sa kerosene. Kaya po, talagang kung titignan natin, kung ikukumpara po natin sa inflation, ay malaki po ang epekto nitong malaking pagtaas na ito ng presyo ng langis. Kaya po, kami rin po ay sumusuporta doon sa, kung meron po na ipapasa na bill on repeal on oil deregulation law, ay sinusuportahan po natin ito dahil hindi naman po talagang nagkaroon ng pababaan ng presyo ng langis. Bagkos, nagkakakontsabahan ang mga oil companies para sa mga presyo ng langis na nagdudulo talaga ng malaking epekto sa ating ekonomiya. So yun lang po, Mr. Speaker, at binabati ko po ang ating colleague, si Representative Erwin Tulfo.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of Representative Erwin Tulfo, including the manifestation of Representative Franz Castro, to the Committee on Rules for appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The privileged speech of the Representative Erwin Tulfo, as well as the manifestation of Representative Franz Castro, is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I also move that we recognize Representative Arlene Brosas for her manifestation. Motion for reconsideration that her manifestation be also included as a manifestation to the privileged speech of Representative Erwin Tulfo.
Okay, let's first hear the manifestation of Representative Brosas. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I deliver my PS, I would like to manifest on the previous privileged speech of Congressman Erwin Tulfo. Gusto po nating sabihin bilang pagsuporta sa kanyang panawagan na ibasura ang oil deregulation law. In fact, meron pong mga bills kaugnay dito, no? Katulad na lamang ng bill regulating downstream oil, bill on centralized procurement, at bill nationalizing the Petron. So meron pong mga alternatives at meron pong pwedeng gawin ang kasalukuyang pamahalaan para talagang hindi tuloy-tuloy na sumirit ang presyo ng langis o presyo ng oil. Nang sa ganon, magkaroon ng reprieve ang ating mga mamamayan, lalong-lalo na ang pinakamahihirap sa ating bayan na kumukonsumo ng oil araw-araw. Yun po yung gusto nating manifestasyon kaugnay sa naging privileged speech ni Congressman Erwin Tulfo. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I move that the manifestation of Representative Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party List be referred to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The manifestation of Representative Arlene Brosas is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we recognize again Representative Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party List for her privileged speech.
The Honorable Representative Arlene Brosas is recognized for her privileged speech. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, fellow representatives, and all those watching our plenary session this afternoon, greetings to all of you. First of all, inaanyayahan ko po ang lahat na silipin ang exhibit sa labas ng PLCPD ng World Humanitarian Day. Ito po ay pagkilala o pag-celebrate sa World Humanitarian Day. But today, as we celebrate the World Humanitarian Day, in contrast, the culture of impunity in our country continues to worsen. Sunod-sunod ang mga balitang pagpatay at paglabag sa karapatang pantao. May mga kaso din ng shoot first, ask questions later, na nagbibigay ng daan sa papatinding kultura ng abuso at karahasan. Nitong nakaraan lamang ay binisita namin sa Gabriela Women's Party si Jemboy Baltazar, isang inosenteng bata at ang pinakabagong kaso ng walang awang pagpaslang ng kapulisan. Last August 2, 2023, Jerode Jemboy Baltazar was killed by Navotas City police officers while he was cleaning his fishing boat with a friend. He was only 17 years old. Kahit na menor de edad, tumutulong si Jemboy sa kanyang pamilya upang matustusan ang kanilang pang-araw-araw na gastusin sa pamamagitan ng pangingisda. Noong hapon ng August 2, kasama ni Jemboy ang kanyang kaibigan na ayusin ang kanilang bangka upang sila ay makapangisda. Batay sa mga news reports, sila ay pinagbabaril ng officers ng Navotas City Police habang nasa bangka. They were unarmed and were not given proper warning by the Navotas police officers before being shot at. Jemboy ended up in the water with a bullet to his head. He was not immediately fished out of the water, and it was only after 3 hours that one of his relatives was able to get him ashore. By that time, he was already dead. Meanwhile, the Navotas police officers realized that he was not the suspect that they were pursuing. According to Navotas City Police Chief, Police Colonel Alan Umipig, at the time of Jemboy's demise, the police officers were looking for a murder suspect in Barangay NBBS, Kaunlaran. They allegedly received a tip that the murder suspect was on a boat. This led to their encounter with Jemboy and his friend, with Jemboy being mistaken for the murder suspect. Instead of positively identifying Jemboy and his friend to confirm their identity, the police officers chose to open fire on the two young men. This shoot first, ask questions later approach by local law enforcement agencies is not new and is even prevalent during the war on drugs by the Duterte administration. 6 years ago, or on August 16, 2017, Kian De Los Santos was shot and killed by police officers during an alleged drug operation, where police claimed that Kian had tried to run away or nanlaban. However, CCTV footage showed that the boy was already in the custody of police and was not trying to flee, as claimed by the law enforcement operatives. During the Duterte administration's war on drugs, more than 6,000 individuals have been killed. The extrajudicial killings have continued on in the current administration. According to the Dahas Project of the University of the Philippines Third World Studies Center, there have been at least 342 drug-related killings recorded from July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2023. The shoot first, ask questions later approach exposes the culture of impunity and violence that has been prevalent in the Philippines. This culture of impunity and violence is also not limited to cases involving the killing of suspects. A robbery complaint was filed last week against police officers involved in a drug operation in Imus, Cavite. 9 police officers wearing civilian clothes forcibly entered a house in Barangay Alapan 1A for a buy-bust operation. They had no search warrant or warrant of arrest. After arresting the drug suspect, the police officers allegedly robbed the house of various items. These recent incidents show the abuse of power of police officers in their enforcement of the law. Instead of enforcing justice through legal means, they are causing injustice. No one is above the law. As law enforcement agents, they are mandated by their oath to serve and protect. They are not mandated to put matters into their own hands. They must adhere to the law that the accused are innocent until proven guilty. Ginoong Speaker, mga kababayan, sama-sama po nating tutulan at labanan ang abuso at inhustisya. Huwag natin hayaan na humaba pa ang listahan ng mga biktima ng kawalang katarungan. Hangad natin ang patas na investigasyon, pagtataguyod sa karapatang pantao, at tuloy-tuloy na paninindigan para sa hustisya at pananagutan. Ang karapatan ng mamamayan ay dapat nating ipaglaban. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of Representative Arlene Brosas to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The privileged speech of the Honorable Arlene Brosas is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, I move that we approve Journal number 7, dated Monday, August 7, 2023, Mr. Speaker. So move.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Journal number 7 is hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, under the calendar of business for the day, I move that we consider House Bill number 8497 contained under Committee Report number 670. And for this purpose, Mr. Speaker, may I request the Secretary General to please read the title of the measure, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Bill number 8497.
House Bill number 8497, an act promoting inclusive education, entrepreneurship, and employment for sustainable development among 4Ps adult beneficiaries, amending for the Purpose Republic Act number 11310, otherwise known as the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program, 4Ps, Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, at this point, I move that we recognize the chairperson of the Committee on Poverty Alleviation, Representative Michael L. Romero.
The Honorable Michael Romero is recognized
For his sponsorship
to sponsor the measure.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker, and to all my colleagues here. Pleasant good afternoon, and to the distinguished members of this august body during this 19th Congress, good afternoon again. It is my distinct honor and privilege to sponsor House Bill number 8497 under the Committee Report number 670 of the Committee on Poverty Alleviation. Amending Republic Act number 11310, otherwise known as the 4Ps Act or the Pantawid Pamilya Program Act, by including capacity building of 4Ps adult beneficiary, would address the major issue that are left behind in our social protection and welfare programs. We recall that the Pantawid program is focused on ensuring that our children are healthy and educated, while adult members of the same household receive no assistance when it comes to their education. House Bill number 8427 under Committee Report number 670 seeks to promote capacity building among adult 4Ps beneficiaries by offering cash grant to subsidize the cost of transportation and meals as they pursue any of these 3 tracks. The first track being the alternative learning system until they finish grade 2, 12, or senior high. Ito pong ating committee reports states that ito pong expanded 4Ps natin, nagkakaroon po ng 3 track ngayon. Ang unang track, ito pong alternative learning system na pwedeng i-take na ng kahit sino man membro ng 4Ps na mga magulang. Ang pangalawang track po nito, yung entrepreneurship track, meaning any of the adults, members of the 4Ps, can now avail and educate themselves through an entrepreneurship track. And the third one being an employment track. So each month, the 4Ps member can receive 500 pesos, and each of them they can avail of these 3 tracks, no? Please note that these educational and training programs are already being implemented by the DOLE, the DTI, and the TESDA. If this bill is passed into law, we expect optimum delivery of service of these agencies to be targeted for peace. If we are able to shepherd the passage of this bill, we increase the indigent adults' capability to be educated and trained, which in turn will increase their chances of being employed or putting up their own business. Ito po, makakatulong sa poverty alleviation ng buong bansa. For these reasons, I implore the aid of my distinguished colleagues for the swift passage of this measure. Maraming po salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Representative Wilbur Tilly to also sponsor the measure of a party list, agri-party list.
The representative to also is hereby recognized to also sponsor the measure.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Esteemed colleagues, good afternoon. This is to manifest that I would like to co-sponsor this bill, the Expanded Pantawig Pamilyang Filipino Program, or the Expanded Four-Piece Acts, which this representation principally authored this 19th Congress. We thank the Committee on Poverty and Alleviation, our very hardworking chair, Kong Mike Romero, for considering and shepherding this bill. We are proud to push for the passage of this important legislation that makes adult education, livelihood, and entrepreneurship skills training part of the four-piece benefit package. These capacity development programs are already given by TESDA, DTI, DepEd, DOLE, and DSWD. Let us allow our program beneficiaries to maximize them. Nagpapasalamat din po tayo sa samahan ng nagkakaisang pamilya ng Pantawid Pilipino or the SNPP sa walang pagod at aktibo nilang pakikipagtulungan para maisulong at mapaganda ang batas na ito. Sila ang mga patunay kung paano nakakatulong ang programa para mapabuti ang kalidad ng pamumuhay ng mga nangangailangan nating kababayan. This is an effective investment on our people to enable them to earn, stand on their own, successfully graduate from the four-piece program, which is limited to a maximum of 7 years, and help break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. Alam natin na para sa marami nating mga kababayan, ayaw nila ng handouts, gusto nila ng trabaho at oportunidad. Ito po ang mismong layunin ng panukalang batas na ito. Milyon-milyon nating kababayan ang natulungan na ng four-piece. Narinig na natin ang iba't ibang success stories ng mga anak na nakapagtapos ng pag-aaral at ngayon ay nakapagtrabaho na. Isipin po natin kung gaano kalaking tulong kung ang mga magulang naman ang matulungan natin na makapagtapos ng pag-aaral, makapaghanap buhay at makapagsimula ng negosyo. Winner tayo lahat dito dahil kapag nakaahon sa kahirapan ng mga benepisyaryo, sila naman ang makakatulong bilang produktibong mamamayan sa ating lipunan na makakatulong din sa iba pang nangangailangan. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Representative Wilbert Lee. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, since no member wishes to avail for interpellation, I move that we close the period of debate and the sponsorship and debate, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of sponsorship and debate is hereby terminated. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, since there are no committee nor individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of amendments is hereby terminated. Majority Leader.
I move that we proceed with the voting on second reading of this measure, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. There is a motion to approve House Bill number 8497 on second reading. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those against, say nay. House Bill number 8497 is hereby approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed earlier, we haven't closed the period of the privilege hour, Mr. Speaker. So now I move that we close the period at the privilege hour, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The privilege hour is hereby terminated. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend the session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Yes, sir. Oy, boss. Gusto mo mag-open? Yeah. I just would like to... Like
State of the province address.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Section 59 of the rules, I move that we recommit House Bill number 8218 under Committee Report number 559 to the Special Committee on Nuclear Energy, Mr. Speaker. So move.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. House Bill number 8218 under Committee Report number 559 is recommitted to the Special Committee on Nuclear Energy. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move for the change of referral of the House Bill number 8218 from the Special Committee on Nuclear Energy to the Special Committee on Nuclear Energy and Committee on Energy, Mr. Speaker. So move.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we suspend the session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Kaya nga lang ako, sa sponsor pa.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, still under the calendar of business for the day, I move that we consider House Bill number 7447 contained under Committee Report number 397, and for this purpose, may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the measure.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Bill number 7447.
House Bill 7447, an act strengthening the local health boards of every province, city, or municipality by including in the membership thereof a representative from the Barangay Health Workers Federation, amending for the purpose Section 102 of Republic Act Number 7160 as amended, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Speaker, at this juncture, I move that we recognize Representative Mark Inverga of the 1st District of Quezon to sponsor the measure.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Representative Mark Enverga is recognized to sponsor the measure. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. The substitute bill now for consideration seeks to provide for the inclusion of additional member in the local health boards, amending for the purpose Section 102 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991. It is the duty of the state to protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill consciousness among them. This is mandated by Article 11, Section 15 of the Constitution. To carry out the aforementioned constitutional mandate, RA 7160 mandated the local government units to discharge functions related to delivery of health services. Republic Act 7883, otherwise known as an act granting benefits and incentives to accredit barangay health workers and for other purposes, was enacted in 1995 to boost the local government's efforts regarding the provisions of healthcare services at the barangay level. It is recognized that the primary healthcare approach is the major strategy towards health empowerment, emphasizing the need to provide accessible and acceptable health services through the participatory strategies such as health, education, training of barangay health workers, community building, and organizing. The law likewise mandated government and all its instrumentalities to recognize the rights of barangay health workers to organize themselves, to strengthen and systematize their services to their community, and to make a venue for sharing their experiences and for recommending policies and guidelines for the promotion, maintenance, and advancement for their activities and services. While the passage of the aforementioned law for the barangay health workers has indeed seen improvement on delivery of health services to the grassroots, something may still be done to further uphold and promote the interests of the barangay health workers. For instance, notwithstanding of the passage of RA 7883 and the Magna Carta for Public Health Workers under the local government code are still not properly represented. Yet RA 7883 mandates that every incentive or benefit for the barangay health worker requiring expenditure of local funds shall be reviewed and approved by the local health board to ensure that only the deserving barangay health workers get the same. That's in Section 7. This bill seeks to further uphold the rights and promote the welfare of barangay health workers and to strengthen local health boards in the LGUs by increasing its membership to include representatives from the barangay health workers and to provide additional functions responsive to its mandate and the demand of times. Hence, this proposed legislation provides for additional function of local health boards, which is to propose incentives or benefits of barangay health workers and recommendations on other matters requiring expenditures of local funds on health matters. With that, Mr. Speaker, members of this august body, I humbly ask for the approval of this bill. Again, I am asking for your support. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Speaker, since there's no member who wished to interpolate, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of sponsorship and debate is hereby terminated. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, since there are no committee nor individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendment.
is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of amendments is hereby terminated. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading House Bill number 7447.
there is a motion to approve House Bill number 7447 on second reading. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill number 7447 is hereby approved on second reading. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes.
session is suspended.
Thank you.
We'll just name someone dun sa ad hoc committee. NUP.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader,
Speaker, I move that we recognize the Deputy Minority Leader, Senior Deputy Minority Leader, Representative Paul Daza.
the Representative Paul Daza is recognized. Proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the minority, I move for the election of Representative Stephen James Tan as member of the Ad hoc Committee on Military and Uniformed Personnel Pension System.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the Deputy Minority Leader is hereby approved. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn session until tomorrow, August 15 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
is there any objection? Chair hears none. Session is adjourned until tomorrow, August 15 at 3 p.m. Thank you, ah.
Sabi na.
Sawa na kami kay Tony Pe.
Oo nga, asa na si Tuta Pet? Asa na si Tuta Pet?
Thank you.
9:14. 9:14.